Welcome to The Breeze. This
Good
month we
morning.
are still in the studio here at Pinckney Hall. My co-panelists Margie and Tina are at home and we're having a Zoom meeting Breeze. And good morning, ladies.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
You know, Tina, you said something last month about, I'm sorry, Margie, you said last month that one of the things that you missed during this period of inactivity was the ability to laugh and to laugh with people. And I got to thinking about that and I thought, you know, that's very telling thing. It's a very human thing. And I came to the conclusion that I have missed, just as an extension of what we were talking about, I have missed sharing with people. And I mean, not in the sense of going to the movies together. I mean, in the sense of being able to be with someone and actually feel whether they're receptive. I can hear, I can see, but I can't feel, I can't smell, I can't touch, I can't read the faces. And that's what I miss, the ability to share. And I just thought I'd bring that up as well as what you said, Margie.
Are you able to find opportunities to do that, Doug, now that you're self-aware?
Well, yeah, I try, you know, but it's just not the same. I mean, if you guys were sitting here with me in the studio, you know, it'd be a lot warmer, if you will.
Yeah, definitely.
So, in any event, that was just a last summary of what we were talking about. I would say this, you know, now that we're in a period of perceived reopenings and so on, I would just say, so what's it mean to you, Tina?
Well, for me, it's laughing at myself first because I want to take every opportunity to laugh, like you say. So some of it, I had a thought of putting a TikTok together, which I know nothing about because I love to dance, and showing how somebody like myself can really dance and really get it on. I really enjoy doing that. And just the thought was funny. And you know what? It's something I just might do at some point. I don't know. But I laugh at myself for the things I do in the morning. I find that sometimes I literally go in a circle. And it's like, why did you do that? You know, you're thinking of too many things. I have so many things on my mind, even though I'm not actively doing things outside that I want to accomplish, whether it's making my coffee. I bought a coffee grinder. And, you know, today, do I want to have fresh ground coffee? Do I want to do a pour over? I'm not sure if you know what that is, Doug. Do you know what a pour over is?
Tell me.
Well, it's when you freshly grind the coffee and you have a little carafe where you literally pour over the coffee beans your hot water.
Oh, okay.
And it's wonderful. So I bought that during this time. And so I just kind of laugh at myself on, again, like my focus is what I'm going to eat for breakfast and what I'm going to have for dinner. And I get excited about it. And I just find reasons to laugh, you know, looking at the animals outside, watching the birds, the gators. You just have to make yourself laugh and find reasons and just let it out.
Well, it seems to me like, it sounds to me like you have deliberately set forth some sort of routine. You've got new routines perhaps, but it sounds like you've slowed down and you're thinking more about things. Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, I'm more, what's the word?
Cautious?
Yeah. Well, not cautious, but, you know, more deliberate. I think that's the word.
All right, how about you, Margie? You know, with everything reopening and so on, you've been taking good care of yourself. Does this mean anything to you, the reopenings?
Proceed slowly is my slogan. I did go into a restaurant last night and there was social distancing. But when I was sitting there, you know, eating, of course, with my mask off, it's like, golly, I haven't done this for a while. Am I doing this too soon?
Uh-huh.
But I enjoyed my dinner. I was with a friend from the neighborhood. And I think it's going to be more baby steps with me because I think I'm a very cautious person anyway. I don't take many chances. So it's good. I just because the community is doing so. We each need to look at ourselves and say, are we ready to do so? And if not, it's okay. And if it is, we're okay. No judgment.
What about you, Doug?
Well, I'll answer that in a minute, but Margie, I want to follow up and say, do you find yourself suffering a little bit from analysis paralysis is what I would call it? Maybe overthinking things?
Oh yeah, too much time to think. I even think when I walk, so I don't walk a whole, I know I'm kidding. Walking is good because it kind of clears your lungs a little bit. But yeah, I do overthink things. And, it's hard to have a lot of fun right now. You got to really look for those opportunities or those jokes or something you see on TV. If TV is going to keep us occupied and make us fun times, it ain't going to happen these next few weeks.
I had a laugh last night with The Fly.
Yes.
I don't even know what that means. Anyway, to answer your question, I have really tried not to slow down at all. I'm ramping up pretty rapidly. I do a lot of stuff in terms of playing golf and being outdoors playing croquet, going out to dinner and so on and so forth. And so I am trying to get active quickly. I'm not sitting around mourning the loss of anything really at this point, and hopefully I'm not overextending. And we talked a lot last week about one of the good things that came out of this crisis has been people being more mindful of other people's place in life, their personal space, being considerate of what they may be going through and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not trying to overdo, but I'm trying to get out and do stuff with people who I know are of like mind and just get out of the house.
I think I'm sorry.
Tina.
Well, that's time, girls.
When you say like mind, that's important. I think that has helped me to kind of siphon out the people or things or activities that may not have been important, but I did them anyway. So now I'm more, again, deliberate, and my circle is more defined. And I think that's important.
Okay, Mark.
Well, if you haven't had a chance to look at the current sensations, please do. What did you do during quarantine? And when you look through at these 4 pages, 6 pages, 7 pages of some of our residents who have done and made such good use of their time, I thought, oh my goodness, am I behind in the game? It's very inspiring. It means that each of these people made a decision. Okay, I've got this time on my hands. What have I always wanted to do? What do I want to do new? Please read it. It just really picks you up and says, yes.
Okay, all right. So you're finding that people maybe have changed their priorities a little and are doing or are seeking at least what's best for them right now?
I think it's good to showcase that. Although, because if we just hear the stories about, gee, I miss my grandkids, or gee, I can't go out, or gee, this, I mean, that I'm very sympathetic to all of that. Don't get me wrong. That's all part of it too. But then when I see that people can really take the lead for themselves and pursue something, it's very encouraging. It encourages me.
Well, I could tell you that I think I've seen people trying to figure out what's most important to them at this point in their life based on these changed circumstances, and maybe focusing on that a little bit more rather than just what I'll call day-to-day BS and whatever. So hopefully that's right. We actually went out on the streets and as we usually do and talked to some residents about that very topic, and we got some great answers, and we'll share them with you now. We are here today at beautiful Lake Somerset to talk to some residents about this perception that everything is opening up now, and the economy will recover, and restaurants will be open, et cetera, et cetera. And the question is, what are you going to do
resident. Are you going to continue to sequester or quarantine, or are you going to be taking advantage of the new freedoms? Let's take a look.
We are opening back up, and maybe it's a little bit too soon. I look at all the statistics, read them out of several sources every day, and just for an example, the cases in the United States per 10,000 citizens, I forget what it is, but it's up to a 21% increase over last week. So it's not over, and we're seeing more and more of these instances of super events that cause the spread of the virus, and so none of us are going to be really safe over the next few months. So many things going on. I just talked to a neighbor this morning that went to Tennessee, and everywhere they went, including the church they visited there, no one was wearing masks. So we've got a threat out there. We need to deal with it. I know it's an individual decision, but my decision is that I'm going to be every bit as cautious as I can be, because I've got a lot of life to live, and I love it here in Sun City, and I love everything about what I do, and I want to keep it going.
Well, I'm going to be very careful about how things go back. We've been pretty careful about not going out and stuff for most of this time, and I think I'll probably be continuing to wear my mask and limiting my my places to go. I still think it's going to be a while before I go to a restaurant and eat inside, but I'm hoping we'll all be able to start doing some things more like normal than we have been.
I have already opened up. I've been to restaurants outside. I social distance. I wear my mask. I care about other people. I don't know whether you know, I had COVID in March. I had no problem at all. I didn't have any symptoms. And I think we ought to open up everything. This has ruined our economy.
Doesn't mean too much. I'm still going to be as cautious as I ever have been. At my age, if I catch it, I don't know if I'd make it or not. So I'm being very cautious, and I will continue to be.
You have people in your neighborhood that you associate with, even though they're a little more liberal?
No, I'm pretty much, I'm with my daughter, and that's about the only thing I do, and I love these guys because I can get out.
You know, Doug, another thing that I was thinking about a few days ago, and it's not new to anybody, but it's how this pandemic has really been an equalizer. You know, every economic level, every career choice people have made, parents, grandparents, you know, we are in the same boat, you might say. Now, a lot more difficult for a lot of people than it is for me sitting here in Sun City, and we've already talked about that. But it doesn't matter what our education is, what our title is if we're in a job. Right now, we're all humbled, we're all brought down a few feet, and really ought to be rethinking our lives. But we, again, have it so good. And I would not want to be 40. I would not want to be 26 again.
No, I can't even remember what that was like, really.
I'd
Truth.
take 18 in a minute, but I don't know about 20. Well, you know, it used to be, I would joke around when I was in a working mode that every decision you make about career or every decision you make about where you live even is based on health insurance. And basically what you're saying, Marge, is I'm hearing that there's been so much in common with the pandemic that's really leveled us out and made us all make decisions based on how we want to deal with that. That's the primary driving force, it seems.
Well, one of the things for me is, in speaking with my mother, she is in a bubble of her own in a way. She's in a high-rise downtown LA, and with, you know, the fires and everything else, she's equally cautious. But it also reminds me at 90 how vivacious she is, and that, you know, I want to be that way. I want a future like that. I want to be able to go and enjoy, but more importantly, enjoy now. So I think it's up to me to facilitate the things that I want to do and make sure that I do them now and not procrastinate and say tomorrow.
Yeah. Nobody's going to do it for you.
Absolutely.
Well, the other end of the stick, we've been talking quite a bit here about getting reopened and getting restarted and developing new interests and new priorities, determining what's important to us at this point. I think there's a large group of people who have simply taken the route of withdrawal or disconnect. And they have decided that they're not going to interact until some undetermined point in the future, if at all. And to me, that can be very troublesome from a mental point of view and a morale point of view. Do you see much of that in your goings about here at Sun City?
Well, I have to say I'm probably more of a loner than a lot of people. I don't really join a lot of clubs and things. This is one of my main activities. I do things outside the gate. And in that respect, my close friends, I do see and I do talk to, and I make an effort to do that. My neighbors I see on occasion, and I can't really answer that. I don't really know how active they are because I have, in a way, I guess, my own type of disconnect. And I think that's partially because of fear of, I don't know what their circle is, and therefore I don't know what their activities how they might impact me. So I guess that's a part of my Marjorie syndrome that, I'm being a little cautious.
Well, does it make, your withdrawal or disconnect, does it make you more introspective and more aware?
I
And
think
something,
so.
yeah, definitely.
I think it has made me more aware of those that are in situations where it's really difficult for them. I have elderly neighbors. They have not seen their grandchildren in New York. They would have seen them twice within this past year. The loneliness, the separation, I hope I see them before I die. It's kind of depends on where you are, I think, in the age spectrum and the medical spectrum. There are neighbors that have medical issues that I've not seen them on the street. I'm not on the street a lot, but sometimes when we go out to get our mail, we'll have short conversations, or I'll sit outside in front of my house and wave at somebody, or maybe they'll come up the walkway a bit. But the socialization is really just ramped down to practically nothing. We have nothing organized right now, which I think is good, is correct.
Well,
one of my neighbors invited me for a glass of wine, and I said, yeah, I'd like to do that, but later.
okay.
Because again, I'm not aware of what her circle is, and I just don't want to invite the unknown.
Well, I think it's interesting that we're entering the holiday season.
Oh, yeah.
And, personally, I typically would drive to one of my kids' house in either North Carolina or Georgia and have a big gathering. And all that's up in the air right now, especially given the fact that they'll have people at their houses who I don't know, et cetera, just like you were talking about, and what their lifestyle is. I know there's a huge uptick among young people and maybe others as well. So it's a little bit iffy, and that is depressing a little bit, but it also gives you a chance again to think what's really important. And what's really important to you is keeping the connection with your family in any way you can.
And that's another opportunity to be creative. How can I, within my comfort zone, accomplish, that holiday spirit? What is it that I can do? Maybe it's doing something silly like putting on and Doug, you could do this, put on a beard and doing a duo or FaceTime with the grands,
Well, okay, the 1-year-old would really recognize me then.
Well, no, but he might see Santa, and it just would be a fun thing to do and something to look back on years to come.
Okay, okay.
creating a new history.
What about you, Margie? I know you have at least one child that's fairly close by. What are you doing for the holidays?
We haven't talked about it, but I expect I'll spend it with them, either at my place or their place. Now, they're a lot more active and out and about. They're both involved with the school they teach at, or they have administrative responsibilities. So they come in touch with a lot of people. And we don't hug, I can tell you that. We still try to maintain our distance. But yes, I'm fortunate. They're in Savannah. And I have a sister in Columbia that I have seen. So I don't feel quite as isolated as a lot of people, and I will have something to do on the holidays. And you know, those that don't in our neighborhood, Edgewater neighborhood, they generally have pooled together and done a lot around the table and set up tables. And I'm afraid that may not be available to them this year. So it's a tough time. Holidays are tough for people anyway, and I think this is just going to be an added load for some.
Yeah,
We have to be sensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, for Christmas, for me, it's never been a big holiday as an adult. We when I lived in Virginia, we would decorate. We put a tree out on the porch because we didn't want to have the cleanup. And the poor tree, because it was so windy, we lived on top of a mountain, was tipping over because it was so windy. But New Year's is really my holiday, and normally I'll cook a dinner. Yeah, I cook. I'll have maybe a surf and turf and champagne, of course, and watch the New York scene, the LA scene on TV, and have a toast at midnight. And even if I'm alone, I will do that. But more than likely, my road dog and I will do something, or one of my other friends, and we'll do that and have a toast, and that'll be my celebration. But I always like welcoming the new year. And if you get the Local Life magazine, there are some historic things that are tradition that you're supposed to do for New Year's for good luck. Some of them are like collard greens, black eyed peas, and a couple of other things. So I'll probably have the greens, not the black eyed peas.
Well, let me wind this up by saying some people would say that, especially if you look at social media, that we are emerging out of this crisis in two distinct camps. And one of those camps is extremely cautious and extremely fearful.
Mm-hmm.
The other is pretty aggressive, and they're mad at each other. Have you seen any of that on social media?
Oh, I've learned to not read it and overlook it. I have defriended temporarily some people because I think the rants are on both sides they're troubling to the spirit. And I just was thinking that last night and even today. I think I'm going to start not watching a lot of the news, put on my music, and catch up on the news once a day.
Well, also they call that trolling. And I've unfollowed some people because of it. I didn't unfriend them, but I unfollowed them. And I've chosen not to respond to a number of the posts because I don't want to get into a diatribe about this, that, and the other. I just chose to, like you, Margie, and Doug's not even on social media, but I've just chosen not to get involved.
Well, I guess that's one answer for sure. And this to sum up what we've been talking about, I mean, we're coming out of a very unique, unprecedented situation in this country for people of our age anyway. And it's caused some divisions, but it's also given us an opportunity to pull together.
Yes.
You have choices to make about how you're going to re-enter a somewhat normal world. And what you do with those choices is going to determine, how happy you are for the rest of your life. Pretty profound.
At least for the immediate future, yes.
Okay. Well, ladies and comments, I hope we get some feedback from our viewers. Next month, we'll have a holiday show, and we'll talk about how we're getting through the holidays and exactly what we can do about the future to be more positive. So I'll
And
look.
we'll have
Yeah.
some new information by that time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's it for today, girls. Please join us again next month when we again shoot the breeze.